So hello and welcome to the Limitless You Talk podcast with me, Katie. And today I am joined by Matt Boyles, who is owner and coach at Fitter Confident You. I love that. Love saying that. I've been practicing saying it.
I love you saying it as well.
So Matt, thank you very much for joining me today. I first got to know Matt in a previous business mentorship even, and kind of following him on social media over the last couple of years. So reaching out and having Matt on to have a chat with me today is very, very exciting for me personally.
Oh.
So I'm just going to, of course, I'm going to throw that in there. But before we get into anything, I was nosing on your Instagram, and one of your posts was kind of all about explaining who you were. And your caption to that was, who the heck is Matt Boyles? So that's the question that I'm going to ask you for anyone listening to explain a bit behind who you are.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for having me, and it is lovely to be here too. Who the heck is Matt Boyles? I guess there's lots of different Matt Boyles is really. But what people sometimes seem surprised at is the person you see on social media is me. Like, I am that stupid and silly and funny, and I like to have fun, because if we're not, what are we doing here? Which again is always, then I always have to explain, but the fitness side of me is actually very serious and almost boring. Like, sensible is one of my favorite words, because so many people struggle with fitness because they've tried to go all or nothing and thrown everything at the wall and been told no pain, no gain. And with Fitter Confident You, it's about baby steps and kindness and understanding and being around people who get you. It's like the softer end of the fitness industry that still gets amazing results because it doesn't ever feel like too much. But who am I? Well, if you want my CEO, like, I'm 43. I have just bought the car of my dreams, which I've wanted since I was 35, since I was like 8 years old.
Wow.
Which is, I'd always wanted a convertible, since a woman in our village used to have a Ford Escort convertible and pick me up from primary school in the summer in it sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Joy Escom. I hope she's still with us. Haven't seen her for a while. And ever since then, I wanted a convertible. And then ever since going to America on and off over the last 10 years, I'd wanted a Mustang. And I've just bought a convertible Mustang. And I cannot tell you how happy it makes me. Obviously, we're going into winter.
But I was thinking that, but when it's the car of your dreams, you're not bothered about that. So,
yeah, the time was right to say goodbye to the Peugeot 208. So it's a bit of an upgrade. And this is also the culmination of working really hard and deciding to treat myself as well, which I'm good at, like, little treats, but I had nothing I'd really like worked for and really wanted and planned and goal set for ages. So that came about. So that is a part of me. I love music so much. I go to lots of gigs, listen to music all the time. Festivals, obviously quite enjoy the fitness thing as well. Don't mind that, it's all right.
Pays the bills.
And you've got a partner and lots of lovely friends, and very grateful I get on with all my family. So very too blessed to be stressed.
Oh, I love that. I love
that.
that. Yeah, I love it. We'll go with that mantra. And I think that fits into what you said of, like, bringing in kindness, baby steps and just, like, hand holding. That seems to fit everything. That's really, really nice. And, like, I kind of read a bit into it about who you are, growing up and everything like that. And did I read that you played rugby?
No, well, I'm forced to, but I went to a school that was really focused on rugby. And this was the 80s in the Midlands, and there was very little provision for anything else other than rugby. So if you weren't good at it or you didn't like it, I was both of those things. Like, you were just chucked in a group with the rejects, and the teacher didn't want to be there. And there was nothing inspiring about fitness or sport back then for anything else other than rugby. And so that was why I went through school, university, even most of my 20s, thinking that fitness was what other people did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. That's fine. It's for them. But then, as everyone finds out eventually, well, not everyone, but everyone who tries fitness, when you do get into it, it changes your life most of the time, and it feels pretty darn amazing. And the more I did it on my terms and sort of lent into the parts of it that I really enjoyed, the more it made sense. Hey, I ended up setting up a fitness company, which I definitely didn't have on my bingo card before that.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because when I read about the rugby connection, I was thinking to myself, did Matt, who was in with the people that, like yourself, forced to play rugby, would ever think, you don't look 43, by the way, I probably should say that as well, point that out. You know, but as Matt in today's world would ever be in the position, as you say, setting up a fitness business, doing all these things with fitness related, like would they ever have believed that that would have been your life today?
No, absolutely not. And I think that is the power of not feeling bad if you don't have a goal or a dream. For so long, I didn't. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. When in my 20s, I got started in a marketing career, and that was fine and lovely in some ways because I met some amazing people and I learned some useful things, but it didn't light me up. And it was getting into fitness on a personal level that suddenly went, oh, this is interesting. Quite like this. What's next? And then a spark in my brain going, oh, well, maybe I could work with something fitnessy, and then becoming a personal trainer in the park, and then moving online, and then tailoring and niching with gay, bi, trans, queer guys, which is who I work with. And like that sort of, but I don't think I was ever made to feel bad, like in my 20s, that I didn't have a dream or a goal of what I wanted to do with my life. But I think some people do feel bad. Oh, I haven't got it all figured out. Trust me, no one's got it all figured out.
No.
But the more I just sort of, as I said, like lent into what I enjoyed doing, the more a path ahead became clear.
And there's a huge message in that, that any of us should really lean into what we enjoy. That's how I got into fitness. It helped me at a time where I didn't really, I was going to say, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I think it's like when you find something and you really dig deep into that and lean into it when it's times are hard, times are challenging, and what benefits it can bring you, that is a huge empowering message within that.
Actually, I was talking about that with a couple of clients recently who are going through a tough time just in life with life be lifing stuff. But fitness for them has become, even though they never thought this would happen, fitness has become their stability, has become the constant, the thing that they can lean on for that reassuring stability when everything else is going out the window and going a bit nuts. And that realization is, wow, look at who I've become on this journey. Because people so often think about, oh, I'm going to be like, yes, I'll lose some weight, I'll be strong, like all of these things, but it's like the journey, like the journey is the goal. Oh God, that sounds like such a heavy cliche, but the journey is what transforms us. The goal is the reward. And the thing is, the goals can happen every single day if you look for them. There are always wins and things to celebrate. But the more we can just be open to celebrating the journey, the easier it all gets and the more we get from it every single day.
Yeah, I recently learned, it's before my last half marathon, that the journey is the best bit. And if you're doing a running race, for example, for me, my half marathon, that half marathon on event day is the victory lap. I was like, I've never heard that before. And when you're feeling like really tired or it's a real struggle, my last one was, like if I didn't have that where I learned that, might not got through it as well as I could have. So I don't think it's a cliche. I think it's just how we choose to take that on board.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to steal that. Like when you do an event, the event is the victory lap already.
Yeah.
Getting
I've
to
won.
it. And you've won. You've bloody won already. Oh, I love that.
It's so good. But
so good.
you, I was going to say, you fascinate me. I spoke about you to one of my friends who, like yourself, is a gay man. And, you know, we were talking about this journey because obviously still people out there have this sort of stigma and everything about it. And I love how you niche down to this. So is it gay, bi, trans, queer men is your niche? Might get that correct?
Yeah. And the reason, and I always like, sometimes I feel I have to defend this, sometimes I don't, but it's more like clarifying why there is an L in there. And the reason is I am not an L. And like the gay, bi, trans, queer men have some connection to me and who I am in my life and my lived experience. Lesbians, I'm not in a woman's body. I haven't lived a female experience. And also things like I haven't studied menstruation, like all of these things that would make me more specialized to understand it. And so the only reason is I believe there are much better trainers for lesbians and gay girls and trans women out there as well, because that's the life they want to live and their life experience and connection that they have. And I don't have that. And I don't want to take away work from lesbian trainers, for example, just because maybe I've been around longer and I've maybe got a slightly bigger following, but I wouldn't be the right trainer for that person. So I want people to know who I understand and who I speak for and who I get. And that's why I always say GBTQ.
I've had it explained that way, or because I wrote down like, what do I need to understand, of why you, like, I sort of know why you're for men and things like that, but why, as a coach, you can fully represent. And I think you've just described that really well because you get it. You've lived the experience. You live and breathe it as well. So
Yeah.
that's such a unique. I call it a unique community. And that's not to offend people in anything, but that's the way that because I think it's so special. I think it's so like empowering, especially in today's world, where you can be exactly who you want to be, no matter who you are, what you are. And like because you represent that, you get that and you've been able to niche down. How does that form what fit or confident you is? What is the basis behind that that allows it to be what it is today?
So fairly often on adverts I run, so not like organic content that people who follow me, they don't say this because they get it, but people who have just maybe seen an advert on Facebook and Instagram about me, the response quite often is either from straight men being hilarious and like tagging their straight friends and saying, "Oh,
Mm.
Jimmy, you need this guy, hilarious, go away." But the one that surprised me at the start, and I kind of get it now, is other gay men going, "Oh, I'm not different. I don't need special training." And I like on one hand I get it, but I think equally I think sometimes people willfully misunderstand. It's not about segregating us forever. What it is, it's about giving people the opportunity to do what they want to do with just less pressure, with fewer eyes on them, without them feeling different. And like the best example is a gay guy goes into a gym, works with a trainer, and like straight people just will never know it is a stress sometimes, the stress of, do I have to come out to this person? Will this trainer say, "Oh, so you're seeing anyone?" And if you say partner, they go, "Oh, what's her name?" Like these are all these people call them microaggressions or just micro extra things we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And every gay person has in that moment of, oh, shall I lie, or shall I just like brush over the conversation, or shall I be open? Is it safe for me to do so? And that's what Fit and Confident You does. Makes puts a ring fence around us and says, you can just be you here. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't need to come out. You can if you want. Like, we get it either way. And when you take that extra societal pressure off people, they thrive because they can finally focus on the fitness and the working out and the nutrition and the just getting on with it and the motivation and all the good stuff that we all know helps us feel good without that extra crap that we often have to deal with. And some people might say, "Oh, well, you're forcing that on yourself." No, we're not. Like we've all been in these scenarios where actually we don't feel safe, and so we just lie or brush over it for an easy life. And yes, in an ideal world, we wouldn't have to do that. But that's what Fit and Confident You does. So obviously, the training is the same. Like we lift weights, we go for runs, we do classes or whatever people want to do as part of it. The nutrition's the same. The coaching is I guess, and the coaching is different because I understand, I have that physical empathy to have been that guy walking into a gym feeling nervous and
Yeah.
unsure, thinking, "Oh, will I speak to this trainer?" Like that, and that's literally why. When I first started, I worked as a trainer in the park, training anyone face to face, and that was great, and it got me into the business. But when I went online 6 years later, in that 6 years, me as a gay man had found my voice, confidence, boundaries through fitness. And I realized I could help other guys do the same who were 6 years behind me, who felt nervous and unsure and didn't feel welcome in gyms or felt the fitness industry was like a boys' bros club. All of these things. This is why, like, I make it fun, and we have capybaras, and my clients are called unicorns, to break it down and make it as accessible to them as possible. Because everyone deserves the joy of what fitness can bring to them.
Yeah, I'm naive because I always just feel that everyone, as an individual, everybody just deserves to live a life in which and I think
Not
my
naive. That's
naivety is,
beautiful.
you know, I, and I find it very frustrating that that's still not always the case.
Yeah.
And when you're using the words like, safe space or just like, the fence round and everything like that, it's like, why does it still need to be like that? Like, is there a reason, or is it just that, like yourself, like your coaching and what you do, just as you say, takes that pressure off?
So yes, what I do does take that pressure off. I do have to give the fitness industry some dues and some support because it has made some big strides forwards. And sometimes the issue is, for example, my client or someone in my network, because of my audience, has had bad experiences growing up or even later in life, and you can't help but to keep yourself safe. You assume, oh well, that I had a bad experience in that gym, so the next gym I'm going to, I'm still going to keep my guard up, and I'm still going to assume it's not safe for me there. When in actual fact, gyms have been making strides forward to make people feel welcome, whether that's something as like pronouns on their name badges, or just specific training groups or times, or whether it's literally just having more people who are more educated on the floor so they understand that not just gay people or LGBTQ plus people, but all different minorities' unique situations. So sometimes any minority can go into a scenario and just have their backup just because it's happened before, so why won't it happen again? But so there's an education piece from my side and from lots of people saying gyms actually are getting more friendly and welcoming, and like 99% of the time you will have like just a neutral time there, which is all we want. Doesn't need to be like bells and whistles or ticker tape. We just don't want it to be the other side. Like a neutral experience is perfect because then we can just get on with the fitness.
Yeah.
So sometimes as I said, we bring that. But the big question you asked is, why is it still like that? I mean, look at Twitter, look at America, look at the outside world. Like, we're in so many ways, people want us to be divided, and it's easy to attack minorities and say they're the problem, as opposed to things much higher up the chain, which are actually the problem.
Yeah, the external factors in it, and like how you said the word neutral, because I think you just want everybody to be treated normal. I think normal is such a bad word for that. I think neutral is a fair ground. You know, the middleman, whatever. Just it's the middle ground of it, and can be in a. I really like that. Prefer that. So I'm going to steal that one. That's 1 for 1 there.
Perfect.
But I was kind of thinking of some words that I feel, that I've sort of seen. So I've wrote down happy, bright, smiling, funny. But I'm sure at times it always hasn't been like that for you. And I wrote down, like, what have any struggles you've had in your vast life experience so far taught
in
you?
Very long life.
In your short life at 21, what has that taught you that you now use to help others? Or what could you teach me?
I mean, feels like quite a big responsibility suddenly, but all good. Like, I am lucky. I've had a privileged life, and like I said, I get on really well with my family. I've got both my parents still with us. We were comfortable growing up. Like, I fully acknowledge I've had an easier ride than some people because of just where and how I was born. Like, I haven't had awful trauma to deal with to inform me, to inform how I live. And I think partly because of that is why I'm so optimistic about things, and I see the best in people and the best in situations, and I want the best for everyone, and I find that easy to do. And that really informs my coaching as well. I would never shame someone or use negative pains to encourage someone to change, because I don't believe it works. It's kindness and understanding and self-compassion that helps people accept themselves and then move forward. But my own struggles, things like just typical, well, before I was even a trainer, when I was getting into fitness in my late 20s, those sort of the stuff you pick up on in, say, men's health magazines and things like that, it's not even always expressly said, but my brain was like, oh, the biggest guy in the gym is the most knowledgeable, so I should defer all knowledge to him.
Yeah.
Like, I've had to deprogram that a lot out of my brain. And obviously, I guess even since then, over the last 14, 15 years, the rise of steroids has, not to go off too much of a tangent, has really exploded. And just seeing so many roidy bodies on Instagram and people going, and it just worries me that people still have that same belief that I did. Oh, he's massive. He must know what he's talking about and must be a great coach. So for myself, unpicking that and what that meant. And then also things like, I was growing up, I was naturally very skinny and slim. And I used to think when I got into fitness, oh, when I hit on the way up, when I hit 80 kilos, I'll be happy. That's what I need to do. Like, oh, I'll have this great body, it'll open doors, everything will be. And I can't even remember at the time if I did hit it when I think I did just. I'm like, oh, nothing's changed at that moment. But
It's not a big moment yet.
No, and that's exactly like, but I come across this either with clients as well, both ways, going, oh, when I lose 10 kilos, I'll be happy. Like, no, you just got to be happy now. You've got to find joy in the moment, in the journey, in the process. Struggles, oh, you see, and then now I'm feeling guilty that I haven't got a big struggle to share. Like,
I think that's honest. That's your authenticity. That's what you said at the beginning. You know what,
yeah,
social media and things like that is you. You know, and your positivity is shining through. And I love how you said, you know, it's all about kindness, compassion, and self awareness. Like in the funeral industry, that's what I've got to be. As a
yeah,
wellness coach, I've got to be that. You know, and that's the probably is little moments that you might think about later on. You're like, oh yeah, maybe I could have said to Katie about that. But you know, your reality is you've got this positive outlook, and you've just, you know, I would say I come from privileges, so I get that. You know, and it's just who I think probably changing the narrative there. It's who you've chosen to be throughout that's really made the difference to what you do
yeah,
today.
yeah. I guess it is something that I've worked on as well. Working on being happy. Like it's I think happiness, I think, isn't a destination. I think that's where people go wrong. They think, like I said, I'll be happy when I lose X. Like happiness is in the future, when no, happiness can be now. But it is something you can still work on, and your buzzword like mindset, or how you reframe things. And I think I've learned to be more curious over the last 10 years as well. Like, go, if if something happens, go, oh, that's interesting, as opposed to going, oh, why did that happen? Like,
I'm the same. I am the same. Like, seeing the last year, I love how you said that, because I was like, I now, because Christian and Ailey are my coaches that you
oh, I love
know.
them.
So every time I now have like an epiphany moment or something, I'm straight on to my chat with them. And they must think, oh, she's curious again. She's curious again. But it's only because in the last few years, I've really, and Christian always says this to me, I had to go through everything I went through to have it click. And he
Yeah.
always used this expression with me, as to pull my head out of a tumble dryer. That's his expression he uses for me. And it's so true. The more curious I've been, the better version of myself I'm becoming.
Yeah.
The more I can be like, instead of I'm never a person that's like, I need to be this on the scale or whatever. And it's like, oh my goodness, like I could squat the best I've ever squatted before, or I can run like quicker and sustain a higher pace than I've ever been able to do before. And I'm like, oh, what is happening? And I'm even curious at the moment, because I'm going through a period where I'm getting a stitch every time I'm running. But it's just
Right.
because my endurance is stepping up a level. And I was like, I am so curious about a stitch. Where does a stitch come from? Why does it come? Like, how long is it going to hang about? Like, we're not friends. So I think
love
sometimes
that.
the more you're curious and the more that your narrative can be, it just can make such a positive difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I love that. I love that with the stitch. Well, we're not friends.
No.
But yeah, and the other thing similar to that I love saying to clients is, see yourself as your biggest experiment. Just keep testing and trying, and stay open, and say, well, I'll just see if I can lift heavier this week. And if you can't, great. Or if you can do one set of the 3 slightly heavier, you've done more than you've done before. Like that, it's that innate curiosity and openness to trying new things that allows us to grow and keep growing and be cool with it.
Like, that'd be cool. If I always think of that emoji with the smiley face and the glasses on, that's like, yeah, that's that is such the definition of cool. But I wrote down, like, so if someone was like, right, Matt, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
I want to be the best version of myself. How can someone like me be a fitter, confident me?
Oh, that I should
Should
probably
we
have an answer
program?
to that. Okay, well, I guess one of the most important things is, whatever we do, I always say, but I want you to do it on your terms. Which some PTs are so precious about, oh, you've got to follow my plan to the nth degree. You've got to follow it precisely, otherwise it won't work. Obviously, I don't want people to mess completely with my plans, but I want to, like, I'm here to listen and build a rapport with the client and understand, okay, well, actually, maybe you just need 15-minute workouts to start with, and you'll do them at home, and that will help build your confidence, and you'll do 3 before work in the week. And amazingly, in the first week, you'll go, oh, hang on, I feel completely different. So I guess it's staying open to how we do things. It's being willing to try what I recommend, but also then putting your spin on it and saying, uh, like, I do have a prop. So I've written a best-selling book, which is called
It's a confident universe,
Mid a Confident
literally.
Universe. But the key bit is an LGBTQ plus guide to well-being on our terms. And I think so many people think fitness is set in stone, or like, I have to work out for an hour to be effective. I have to starve myself. I have to do cardio to burn fat. People come into it with so many rigid worldviews of what has to be done. None of that has to be done. So that's what I come back to. Do it on your terms. Find the fun, find the groove, make friends, join the community, like join the Zooms, and just, you will realize you're not weird. There's nothing wrong with you. And there are people just like you doing what you want to do. So choose to be inspired by them and not intimidated or compare yourself negatively to them.
I like that. And from all of that, because I was researching this morning all about acceptance.
Lovely.
So that resonates with me. It's kind of like I always used to have an issue of being accepted because of who my parents are, because of their connection locally. People know them for the business that we have as a family. So I always, as if I carry a sign around my neck. And it took a long time to take that sign off to be accepted for being Katie. So it's like, you know, joy and be a fit to come for you, there is a huge element of acceptance in that, to accept who, okay, yes, you might not be where you want to be. You might feel a bit crappy in the way, you know, you might be like shitty in mind, you know, body and life, whatever. But if you can accept where you are now and accept that there is a better version of you, you can start the process and meet amazing people along the way.
Yeah, you really can. And I love that you said that about acceptance. And this, the other thing that we work on a lot with clients, and I think this is a bit more rife in the LGBTQ plus community, is trying to hate yourself to change. Oh, I hate my body. I've got to do something about it. I hate my body. I don't fit in these jeans. I'll never get a boyfriend. Using those as motivators are not long-term, happy, sustainable reasons to keep working out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been shown in hundreds of studies, positive reinforcement about good stuff, and good stuff in the future as well, is where it's at. You can't hate yourself to change. You have to accept where you are to be able to work. That's the irony of it. When you do accept, this is me now, that's when change will happen, because you can just get on with it without beating yourself up and feeling crappy about yourself all the time. But if you continually if you beat yourself up with, oh, I've got to go work out because I don't look right, because I hate my body, that is only ever going to feel like a chore. Who wants to stick at doing chores unless you really have to? No one. So you're going to, those reasons are not enough to get you on a long-term, sustainable, enjoyable path.
It's like, what's the expression? Short term, to do with, you know, short term kind of gratification, but it's long term suffering or something like that. Something, but whatever the analogy is for that.
I know what you mean. Can't think what it is.
Yeah, but it is true in the short term. Yeah, you think you might be happy in those moments, but in 10 years' time, guarantee you'll be back at square one. If not, you'll be 10 steps behind. Yeah. And that's the kind of way that I was. And coming into 2024, I probably was still a little bit like that. But I went on a retreat with Christian Neely that they did. And I know that you're on retreats and things like that. And I have been so amazed at how much being in an environment with people that are like-minded, that want to make a difference for themselves, that gave me momentum. Like, people from so many different parts of the world, you know, we're all different in our own ways, but no judgment, just accepting for who we are. And it fascinates me because I know you run retreats as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if everyone could go on a retreat and I could pay for it, then obviously that would be like the dream to do, because I think everyone would get so much out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much momentum and joy and everything does it bring to you by running them, and you like having a point of reflection after it, being like, this is why I do what I do?
Oh, the most. Like, I love being an online trainer because it means I can help reach and support more people, like, all around the world. Like 30% of my clients are in North America.
Wow.
But the retreats, and also I've been doing some like single day stuff, but the retreats especially, spending time, immersing yourself with amazing people who, again, like you said, want to do good stuff, want to work on themselves, support each other. The retreats have been so energizing for me, for the business, for clients, just for everything connected with what I do. I bloody love them. We're doing 3 next year for the first time, which is so exciting.
Oh, wow.
And I'd been on some before, so I knew the power of them. And the power really, and you, as you will have experienced, yes, like the workouts and the experiences and all that is brilliant, and those moments are great. For me, it's what they call the white space in between, when you've got a moment just to pause and you're talking to someone new and you're just sitting by the pool and just like stuff comes out that you don't normally allow yourself to talk about. And those like breakthroughs, and there are breakthroughs every time on the retreats, are so joyous because they're people being authentic and unlocking parts of themselves that back at home, when we're living fast and like we've got to get the work done and then dinner and go shopping and then do this, like we don't give ourselves that breathing space again. So the retreats were a natural extension of what I do, and I'm so proud of how they work and how we've built them into something really powerful. Yeah, love them.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that message because I think anyone listening to this conversation, if they are in a position to do it. It changed my life even more than I went in very underestimated.
Yeah.
Not knowing what to expect. No, I think it was for me. I don't go into anything with a lot of hope or expectation, and if it turns out that way, then it's extra special.
Yeah.
Rather than be disappointed straight away. So yeah, it's incredible. But for anyone listening that is gay, bi, trans, or queer man, and from yourself in that position, I do have family and friends and things that are that, and I love them very much. Just and if you were to give a message to them about becoming their best self from more of an understanding position than I ever would be,
Oh, bless you.
what could you say to them? Like, I know that I love them very much, and that we've got so many memories and a great friendship, and we're always there for one another. But you have that understanding differently. So what could you add to all of that?
Yeah, I guess a lived experience will always allow for a deeper sense of empathy. But just to say, you're an amazing ally and supporter and cheerleader. So don't do yourself down. And they will be so grateful for you being in their lives, showing up as you do. What I would add is a lot of, well, it's not just LGBTQ plus people, but a lot of minorities struggle with self-acceptance, struggle with believing that we do deserve happiness, to feel good, that we are worth it, that we should put ourselves at the top of our to-do list as opposed to below everyone else. Because in gay terms, we've been told for hundreds of years that we're second-class citizens, that we're illegal in the UK until 1967, that countries debate our validity every time there's an election. Like all of this, like we worry that rights can be taken away. All of this, of course, can play, even with like the best support network and family and friends and like mindset in the world, you're still going to see that. It's still going to seep into our world. So of course, it's understandable if gay people don't feel like fully accepted or fully worthwhile or valid when the opposite is true. Everyone, like we all deserve happiness and health and support, and like encouraging more and more people in my community into just doing a bit of fitness bit by bit is what I live for, because I know firsthand how life-changing it was. And I see it every day with my clients, with people in the groups and the communities and on the retreats. Like when we just give ourselves that 1% chance that it'll work, and we start to see a crack of light through the door and we go, oh, hang on, maybe this is quite nice. We deserve that just as much as anyone else, but often it's our own self shutting it down. So give yourself, like, take a step back and ask for help, whether it's a trainer or a friend or someone who works out or just whoever it is. Remember this, you deserve every happiness that a bit of fitness brings and everything else that you might be delaying, but we deserve it just as much as anyone else.
Love that. And before I let you go, before we finish up this conversation, I always ask the same question to finish up for anyone that comes on. And I'm really interested to hear this. Really interested. I'm very curious. I put my curious mind on. Matt,
Okay.
What are your superpowers?
Optimism.
Oh, okay.
Optimism, making puns is absolutely up there. Like I love a pun. That's hence Fitter Confident Universe.
Yes.
Yeah, seeing the best in, I guess that's part of optimism, seeing the best in people's situations. Oh yeah, and also instilling that in clients and people in the Fitter Confident Universe, that just because that's how you've always done it doesn't mean that's how it always has to be done or how it has to feel. You could be more optimistic about the future. You like I really think being around each other, whether it is online or face to face, we learn and we realize these different perspectives and different ways of being. And so me passing on like, even just a little bit of that optimism to people changes their lives bit by bit by bit. And it's the sort of thing, I don't lose any of my optimism by passing it on. We all grow together. So yeah, rising. And my favorite phrase is a rising tide lifts all boats. So a sharing the knowledge, the support, the wealth, the kindness, helping us out is how we all grow, benefit, and get happier together.
I love that. And become a fitter, confident you. I think that's a lovely way to end it. But before we go, just for anyone that wants to follow you or find out more about your stock here, like I have, I just like admitting I'm a personal stalker here. You know, where can someone find you, or where can they find the book?
Oh, well, you're very sweet. So Fitter Confident You on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, although I think I'm going to leave Twitter because it's absolutely diabolical. Yeah, the book Fitter Confident Universe with a YOU is on Amazon. Feel free to be my 60th 5-star review. Or fitteryou.net is like my brand site about everything that I do, including info on the retreats. But I mean, to be honest, Instagram, Fitter Confident You is the best place there. It's got
Excellent. I will tag it all below. But Matt, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation.
I've really loved it. Thank you so much, Katie. Really, yeah, grateful for this.